Yo, what up, all y'all? How you feeling out there? Yes, I hope you're feeling all the love I'm sending out. I hope you're feeling all the love that's coming to you from Mother Earth and Father Sky, and the love that's coming from the trees and the rivers, the clouds, and the bumblebees, and humpback whales, the mountain lions, the seagulls, the stones, the rain. Yes, you are loved. Never forget it, never doubt it. Believe it, own it. You are loved. All right. Welcome to another episode of Get It Stoned with your host, Mr. Stone Petoskey. I'm so stoked to have you here. Yes, we are so blessed. So blessed to be alive, so blessed to be breathing, so blessed to be celebrating this beautiful day. Sending all y'all a big hug coming at you. Hug for you, hug for me, hug for everybody. Yes. Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to all those truckers out there that are, standing up for freedom and truth and all those blessings that we, cherish and sometimes take for granted. Yes, it's such a inspiring thing that they're doing. So, and it's catching a little bit of a fever around the world, as you would expect. So, just want them to know that I stand in solidarity with them and with anyone who's standing up for freedom, the freedom to choose, bodily sovereignty. Yes, that is something that I'm very passionate about. Yes, without the freedom to choose, we are nothing more than slaves. Yeah, I'm not pro or anti, I'm just freedom of choice. Yeah, and also I'm not too keen on all this censorship nonsense, That's not a high vibrationary kind of behavior. We should all have access to the information, any and all information, and then we as individuals use our discerning intelligence to determine whether or not it's something that we, as sovereign beings, want to believe or not. So it's interesting, the truth doesn't cower. The truth welcomes all comers. It doesn't censor anything. It just stands in its power because it knows that it is only the lie that requires censoring and things of that nature, because the lie fears being exposed. Yeah, pretty simple, y'all. If you're paying attention, it's real clear what's going on. Yes. And with that said, you extend love to everyone, as they choose what they decide is right for them. You love them in that choice. And even if they're not extending you the same courtesy, because you know the value and the depth and the integrity and the importance of that bodily sovereignty, that freedom to choose. Yes. Move from the heart. Choose love. Choose compassion. Yeah. And rock and fucking roll. Yeah, baby. Always gotta have the rock and roll. Gotta have it. All right, so I hope y'all doing well, man. I send you a lot of love and positivity coming at you here from the Dirty D. Yeah, I think that's about all I really want to say right now. You know, I think I just soon leave it at that. Keep it simple, keep it short, keep it tight, keep it nice. The revolution will not be televised. Will not be televised. Yeah. Feel it in your bones now. You are a child of the Great Spirit. You are a child of Mother Earth. Yes. You were born from the great Mother Earth, and to her you shall return. Yeah. It's all just a circle, an endless and infinite spiraling of life, coming and going, ebbing and flowing, rocking and rolling. Yeah. There's nothing to fear, y'all. There's nothing to fear, not one single solitary little thing. Yes. Nothing. Don't be afraid, man. Every day's a blessing, every day's a gift. Yeah. Welcome it, appreciate it, embrace it, own it, live it, love it. Yeah. Don't be afraid, man. Yeah, don't even be afraid of that Grim Reaper. Even that motherfucker's an illusion, right? It's all just changing forms. You know what I'm saying? Waves become particles, and particles become forms, mass, right? And then it all just spins right back around again, infinitely. And you are that. Yes, nothing to fear, y'all. Not a thing. All right. So, where we at here? We're gonna do a little reading. We're gonna jam a tune. You know how it goes if you've been here before. Oh, and I just want to say thank you for anyone who listens. I appreciate you taking the time in your life to to hit that play button on this little thing I do. I really am immensely grateful for you taking that initiative and from my heart to yours. Thank you so much. All right, so let's kick it off with a poem. All right, this cat is one of my favorites, man. He's no joke. You know, he rocks and he rolls, and he's a legend. There's no question about it. He's a member of what was called the Beat Generation, and his name is William Burroughs. And if you're not familiar with him, I would strongly suggest that you get familiar with this man. He will rock your socks off, if you know what I mean. Yeah, he's dope. He's as dope as they come. David Cronenberg did a film called Naked Lunch that was based off of a novel by Mr. Burroughs of the same title. It's really an awesome film. I highly recommend checking it out as well, and reading the book for that matter. It's a classic, unquestionably. So I'm gonna just read one of his poems here, and it's called Cold Lost Marbles. Mr. William Burroughs, give it up. My ice skates on a wall, luster of stumps washes his lavender horizon. He's got a handsome face of a lousy kid. Rooming houses, dirty fingers whistled in the shadow. Wait for me at the detour. River, snow, someone vague faded in a mirror, filigree of trade winds, cold white as lace circling the pepper trees. The film is finished. Memory died when their photos, weather-worn points of polluted water under the trees in the mist shadow of boys by the daybreak in the peony fields. Cold lost marbles in the room, carnations, 3 ampules of morphine, little blue-eyed twilight grins between his legs, yellow fingers, blue stars, erect boys of sleep have frozen dreams, for I am a teenager, pass it on, flesh and bones, withheld too long. Yes, sir, we, craps last map, lake, a canoe, rose tornado in the harvest, brass echo tropical jeers from Panama City, night fences, dead fingers, you in your own body, around and maybe a boy's skin spreads to something else on Long Island. The dogs are quiet. Yeah, baby. Yeah, William Burroughs, y'all. You don't want to fuck with that dude, man. He is a bad motherfucker. I mean, he puts words together in ways ain't no one ever else done and ain't anybody ever gonna do, man. That guy was a wizard with the words. Would have loved to have met him and had some time to kick it with him, man, all through the night, talking story and whatever other nonsense came up. You know what I'm saying? He would have been a hell of a lot of fun, man. What a trip. All right, let's do a tune. Let's just do a tune, and then we'll get into another little thing I got for you today. All right. Yeah, this is a song called Atlantic City by Mr. Bruce Springsteen. Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. They blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, getting ready for a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys will do. There's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out on the promenade, and the gambling commission hanging on by the skin of its teeth. Baby, everything dies, honey, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday come back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Had a job trying to put some money away, but I got debts that no honest man can pay. So I took what I had from the Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Coast City bus, baby. Everything dies, honey, that's a fact, baby. Everything that dies someday come back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Luck may have died and love made me cold. With you forever I'll stay. We're going out where the sand's turning to gold. Put your stockings on, babe, the night's getting cold. Everything dies, honey, that's a fact, maybe. Everything that dies someday come back. I'm looking for a job, but it's hard to find. Down here it's just winners and losers, and don't get caught on the wrong side of that line. Tired of coming out on the losing end. So last night I met this guy. Won't do a little favor for him, baby. Everything dies, honey, that's a fact, baby. Everything that dies someday come back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. All right. Yes, cautioning your tale right there. Yeah, Springsteen's always so good at those kind of songs, you know. He just creates this whole narrative, and it's like a painting. Yeah, it just every word, every rhyme is like a brushstroke, and he just creates this beautiful story on the canvas, the melody canvas. Yes, and the dude puts on a hell of a concert, man. I mean, he rocks out with the band for like 3+ hours, man. Dude is no joke. Yeah, you get your money's worth when you see his show. Yeah, he leaves it all out there on the stage. Got mad respect for that brother. All right, how you feeling, y'all? How you feeling? I hope you're doing well wherever you are. If you're on your couch, or if you're driving to work, or you're, I don't know, listening to the radio, while you're cooking up some dinner. Who knows? But again, I just really appreciate you taking the time to listen. It means the world to me. So I'm gonna read a little something here from one of my favorite books. It's called The Perennial Philosophy, and it was written by Aldous Huxley, another bad motherfucker. So check him out. Yeah, If you don't know who he is, man, you've been living under a rock. So make sure you tap into his genius. Yeah, his novel, most of us are, read it when we're in high school, called Brave New World, but that man was a prophet. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world today that really resonates as far as what that book was talking about. So I would encourage you to not only read that book, but dive into what he's getting to and look at this world that's happening, what's going on, and draw the parallels, connect the dots, because it's going to be up to we the people, you and me, the common man and woman on the street, to resist and make sure that this doesn't go further in that direction, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so this is, like I said, this is from the book, The Perennial Philosophy. I'm gonna read a chapter called, the chapter is titled Self-Knowledge, and it begins with a quote by Boethius. The quote goes a little something like this: "In other living creatures, ignorance of self is nature. In man, it is vice." A fucking man. Yeah. All right, let's dive into it here and see what you make of it. Vice may be defined as a course of behavior consented to by the will in having results which are bad, primarily because they are God-eclipsing, and secondarily because they are physically or psychologically harmful to the agent or his fellows. Ignorance of self is something that answers to this description. In its origins, it is voluntary, for by introspection and by listening to other people's judgment of our character, we can all, if we so desire, come to a very shrewd understanding of our flaws and weaknesses and the real, as opposed to the avowed and advertised motives of our actions. If most of us remain ignorant of ourselves, it is because self-knowledge is painful and we prefer the pleasures of illusion. As for the consequences of such ignorance, these are bad by every criterion. From the utilitarian to the transcendental. Bad because self-ignorance leads to unrealistic behavior and so causes every kind of trouble for everyone concerned. And bad because without self-knowledge there can be no true humility. Therefore, no effective self-naughting. Therefore, no unitive knowledge of the divine ground underlying the self and our ordinarily eclipsed by it. The importance, the indispensable necessity of self-knowledge has been stressed by the saints and doctors of everyone familiar of the great religious traditions. To us in the West, the most familiar voice is that of Socrates. More systematically than Socrates, the Indian exponents of the perennial philosophy harped on the same theme. There is, for example, the Buddha, whose discourse on the setting up of mindfulness expounds the whole art of self-knowledge in all its branches: knowledge of one's body, one's senses, one's feelings, and one's thoughts. This art of self-knowledge is practiced with two aims in view. The proximate aim is that, quote, a brother as to the body continues so to look upon the body that he remains ardent, self-possessed, and mindful, having overcome both the hankering and dejection common in that world. And in the same way as to feelings, thoughts, and ideas, he so looks upon each that he remains ardent, self-possessed, and mindful, without hankering or dejection. Unquote. Beyond and through this desirable psychological condition lies the final end of man, knowledge of that which underlies the individualized self. In their own vocabulary, Christian writers express the same ideas. This is a quote by Master Eckhart. A man has many skins in himself, covering the depths of his heart. Man knows so many things he does not know himself. Why 30 or 40 skins or hides, just like an ox's or a bear's, so thick and hard, cover the soul? Go into your own ground and learn to know yourself there. Yeah, Master Eckhart was no joke. Here's another one by Chang Tzu. Fools regard themselves as awake now, so personal is their knowledge. It may be as a prince, or it may be as a herdsman, but so cocksure of themselves. Yes. All right, back to the main text here. This metaphor of waking from dreams recurs again and again in the various expositions of the perennial philosophy. In this context, liberation might be defined as the process of waking up out of the nonsense, nightmares, and illusory pleasures of what is ordinarily called real life, into the awareness of eternity. The, quote, sober certainty of waking bliss, unquote, that wonderful phrase in which Milton described the experience of the noblest kind of music, comes, I suppose, about as near as words can get to enlightenment and deliverance. Saint Catherine of Siena says, "Thou, the human being, art that which is not. I am that I am. If thou perceivest this truth in thy soul, never shall the enemy deceive thee. Thou shalt escape all his snares." And Ruysbroek says, hope I didn't butcher that name too bad, knowledge of ourselves teaches us whence we come, where we are, and whither we are going. We come from God and we are in exile, and it is because our potency of affection tends toward God that we are aware of this state of exile. All right. Let's jump back in here to this, all right? Spiritual progress is through the growing knowledge of the self as nothing and of the Godhead as all-embracing reality. Such knowledge, of course, is worthless if it is merely theoretical. To be effective, it must be realized as an immediate intuitive experience and appropriately acted upon. Of one great master of the spiritual life, Professor Etienne Gilson writes, "The displacement of fear by charity by way of the practice of humility, in that consists the whole of St. Bernard's ascesis, its beginning, its development, and its term. Fear, worry, anxiety, these form the central core of individualized selfhood. Fear cannot be got rid of by personal effort, but only by the ego's absorption in a cause greater than its own interests. Absorption in any cause will rid the mind of some of its fears, but only absorption in the loving and knowing of the divine ground can rid it of all fear. For when the cause is less than the highest, the sense of fear and anxiety is transferred from the self to the cause, as when heroic self-sacrifice for a loved individual or institution is accompanied by anxiety in regard to that for which the sacrifice is made. Whereas, if the sacrifice is made for God and for others for God's sake, there can be no fear or abiding anxiety, since nothing can be a menace to the divine ground. And even failure and disaster are to be accepted as being in accord with the divine will. In few men and women is the love of God intense enough to cast out this projected fear and anxiety for cherished persons and institutions. The reason is to be sought in the fact that few men and women are humble enough to be capable of loving as they should. And they lack the necessary humility because they are without the fully realized knowledge of their own personal nothingness. Whoa. That's all I got, man. I mean, that's some that's like deep down, down. The ground, the primordial ground, deep down. Unreal. And it speaks so much to what's been happening here in the world, the last couple of years too. It's like the great controller and manipulator is fear. And if you place people into a state of fear, they're like putty in your hands. You just lead them around like a dog, get them to do whatever you want, right? And see, the key is he talks about here is you can transmute that fear once you realize that your ego is an illusion. You are the ground of being. And like I was saying earlier, there is nothing to fear. And then you're liberated, and then you can't be manipulated, you can't be controlled because you're not afraid anymore. Because you know there's nothing to be afraid of. It's beautiful. It's like the ultimate liberation. Yeah. So dig on that, man. Really dig on that. Dive in on that. Re-listen to what that last paragraph was, because it's heavy, man. It's heavy. Wow. Yeah, when I was reading this book here, I've read it through. I pick it up from time to time, but it'll blow you away. You read any chapter in there, and you're gonna learn something. It'll take you on a trip. There's no question about it. And yeah, Aldous Huxley, thank you. William Burroughs, thank you. All you listeners out there in the world, wherever you might be, thank you. That's from the bottom of my heart, man. Yeah. I'm gonna do a little original song. It's just a short little ditty, but I don't know, it feels right to do it just now. Each one of us is a star, and come to this world from near and far, blessed with a gift that is ours to share. Giving is living, show the world you care. This is your one chance, don't hold back. Dream your biggest dream, there's nothing you lack. We're all in this together, truly as one. Love with all your heart, bright like the sun. Yeah, it's a song I wrote a while back called Just Like the Sun. And we're all in this together, y'all. All in this together. So love with all you got, just like the sun. You know what I'm saying? All right. It's time to get on down the road. I'm gonna say thank you again for listening. Thank you so much for your time and your presence. I send you tons of love, positivity, good vibes coming at you. And a big hug. Come on, get up on in there for that hug. Feels so good, man. Feel that hug, man. I mean, really, really feel it. Wherever you are, man, just stop. Just be still. And feel that. Oh. Yes. All right, brothers and sisters, until next time, peace.